Does this bad news bears come from behind? Who the heck are these young, crazy, fast players for the Western New York Flash? Can they do it again? Can they possibly do it again? And then the question, I think, mostly on the Washington Spirit side was, are they going to be able to stop them? There was not a real strong feeling of who we thought might win, but I think certainly you had to feel that momentum and that intangible of just having it at the moment was on the side of the Western New York Flash. I don't think we knew that the franchise was potentially moving at the time of that 2016 NWSL Championship game. This year in 2016 is when we were really only getting the first glimpse of what this entire franchise, really, once it turned into North Carolina, would become. So this was Paul Riley's first year with the Western New York Flash. He had young players that nobody really heard of, much like Lynn Williams, 23 years old at the time, who would go on to win the Golden Boot, be named MVP of the league that year. Abby Dahlkemper, a rising player of the U.S. national team, Jeff McDonald, an older player, but one who had been a journeywoman all around NWSL, weren't really sure what her value would be. By the way, coming down the stretch in the regular season, the team looked awful. They could not win. They went 7 games in a row without a win. 5 of those were draws, but at least they were picking up a point along the way. But just imagine that stretch. It went on for quite a while. They finally needed a point, at least in the last regular season game.
So Western New York has clinched the final playoff spot in the NWSL.
So they're this team that nobody thought would really amount to much of anything that year, and then all of a sudden here they come with this in-your-face style and a ton of speed. They were pretty direct. They can even admit that to you at this point. This one was coming off of what I think is one of the greatest games in NWSL history, which was the 2016 semifinal in Portland, one that Western New York won in dramatic fashion in overtime.
Ball in the box now for Williams. The shot in the corner. She got the goal.
They're going up against a Jim Cabrera-coached Washington Spirit team that had a lot more experience on this team. They had a Diana Matheson, a 32-year-old Canadian on the roster, Allie Krieger, 32 years old. So they had some players who were very used to the system and were just a very different look than what Western New York brought. Now, there was one player on Washington who was in her 3rd year with the team and was also fighting her way back onto the map, and that was Crystal Dunn, who famously did not make the 2015 World Cup roster and then wound up that year being named NWSL MVP, Golden Boot winner. Crystal also had an ankle injury at one point that limited her a little bit, so in the 2016 season, her goal numbers were way down. So she equaled her goal total for the entire season in that championship game. Crystal Dunn scores first in the 9th minute off a counterattack, completely against the run of play. 14th minute, Western New York and a young Sam Mewis answers.
Comes in wide open, cuts it back, right foot, shot from Mewis, and we're even!
Then we would proceed to go 76 minutes without a goal, and I will tell you, not a lot of exciting soccer being played. 91st minute, Crystal Dunn scores again, thinking perhaps Washington's finally going to break through, get a chance to win their first professional title in the NWSL. When Crystal Dunn scored that goal, I thought there's still a lot of time left. In the final minute of stoppage time, the dynamic duo, Jess McDonald and Lynn Williams, connect.
Minimum of 4 added, ball to the far post, the header from Lynn Williams! Oh my goodness!
Their captain, Abby Erceg, called Lynn Williams all season long their get-out-of-jail-free card. Lynn Williams somehow splits 2 defenders and beats the goalkeeper to score off a header after hardly touching the ball the entire game, as my partner, Kinder D. St. Aubin, pointed out.
They've hardly touched the ball the entire game. We just talked about how they haven't been able to connect, and where's that partnership been?
That would take us, for the first time and only time in NWSL history, to penalty kicks, and that is where the heroics of Sabrina D'Angelo took center stage. 23-year-old young goalkeeper out of Canada and the University of South Carolina makes not 1, not 2, but 3 saves in the penalty kick shootout.
Matheson, another save from D'Angelo, and Western New York wins it.
Kendra and I had Carly Lloyd come up to the booth at halftime. She was doing a book tour promoting her book, and we interviewed her at halftime. Well, all was fine. Well, after the game, we start hearing words from people, maybe on Twitter or some of our friends saying, hey, did you guys know that your mics were open? So we come to find out after this championship game that our microphones were open the entire time. So when we went off the air at halftime, a little bit pregame before we went on air, as soon as it got brought up for the internet broadcast, and not only the internet broadcast, but it was also somehow getting piped throughout BBVA Compass Stadium in Houston. People walk to the bathroom at halftime. They're getting to hear us talking, chit-chatting, getting ready, our thoughts on the game. Jen Cooper of Keeper Notes famously told me that the quote she remembers most from those off-air moments was me saying, guns out, straps in, making sure that all bra straps were covered prior to our interview with Carly Lloyd. It's probably lucky that I was with Kendra, who I've worked with for 2 World Cups, multiple NWSL seasons. I don't think I've ever heard her curse anything worse than holy cow. What she did do, however, was give her telephone number to the stage manager, because the stage manager had taken pictures of us interviewing Carly. She said, oh, hey, would you mind sending me a few of those photos? So Kendra's phone number proceeds to get blasted out over the internet and all through BBVA Compass Stadium. The moral of my story is, yes, the microphone is always hot, so be careful.